Hey everybody, Jason and John here, Everyday Crypto, sponsored by CryptoTaxShield.com. Jason, thanks so much for sitting down with me today, my friend. We're going to do another episode. Lots of stuff going on in the world today, so I wanted to get you on a call and do a lesson. So,
yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
You bet. So, I look around at the world today, past few days, past week or so. There's so much going on in the world. We've got Russia busting into Ukraine. We got the Canadian trucker convoy stuff. And I'm like, I know this is worldwide stuff. Crypto's going to be affected. I'm like, let's sit down with my guru, Jason, kind of find out what's going on. So I appreciate you taking some time.
Yeah, absolutely. If I could start off, please, if you find any educational or entertainment value in this video, please like and subscribe. It helps us help you, and we appreciate it. We truly do. And please do your own research. We are not financial advisors.
Yep.
So, right, for a guy like me, what's going on in the world is the best entertainment ever. Because I'm a macro micro guy and I love crypto, right?
Right.
So let's just start with the Canadian trucker situation, right? You know, the Canadian government shuts down their bank accounts. So then they turn to crypto, and the Canadian government tries to shut that down, ignorantly, and then realizes, we can't do that. That's not doable. That's not an option for us, right? And Canadian, for the first time in a long time, looks foolish.
Yeah.
You got Russia and Ukraine, which is, I don't think anybody could have seen this coming. The way it's been played out is unbelievable. You got the Russian economy absolutely upside down. They can't even open up their banks or their stock market because they'll crash, right?
Right.
You got them going to Bitcoin to try and stable their economy. Then you got Ukraine going to Bitcoin to once again stable their economy and use it as a war effort, right?
Right.
So a lot of crypto people have been donating to the Ukrainian war effort.
Right. And
in return, yesterday, the prime minister of Ukraine said, hey, look, we appreciate it. We're going to give everybody who's donated an airdrop of something. So if you're not familiar with what an airdrop is, it's when something randomly shows up in your crypto wallet. It's a gift from somebody else, and they just send it, and it pops up.
Gotcha.
And it can be very valuable. I donate to the war effort regardless, but to hear I'm going to get something out of it, it's very exciting for me. So I'm like, okay, this, for one, can be very valuable.
Right.
And for two, it could be very historical because you got Bitcoin now is being looked at differently, right?
Right.
Used to be looked at as this is what criminals used to do, illicit activities.
Right.
But now people are realizing that's not the case. Really, Bitcoin is its whole thesis is decentralization and the power of decentralization. Right. You can't shut Bitcoin down. It's not an option for governments.
That's right.
And I imagine most governments who 6 months ago, 3 months ago, were trying to act like they're aggressively going to regulate crypto.
Right.
Which I'm sure there's just a bunch of old people sitting on parliament who don't know anything about crypto, right?
For sure. Yep.
So now they have to be watching this and waking up and saying, we can't shut this down. We better embrace it.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we don't, it's going to look really bad, and nobody wants to look like Canada right now. Which how often do you get to say those words, right?
Right. For sure. Well, so let me jump in real quick, not to cut you off, but with all that going on and sort of this light shining on Bitcoin and specifically in crypto as a whole, like, do you think this is going to spur people to start buying like crazy?
Yeah, that's a great question, John. It really is. So a year ago, the most absurdly bullish crypto guy couldn't have predicted these situations.
Sure.
Me personally, I was predicting these situations, but I was predicting them to be played out on the corporate stage, not the global war stage.
Right.
So, yeah, right. You got a bunch of super rich billionaire Russians. They're getting nabbed up and their wealth is being locked up. You got Switzerland, who's never gotten involved ever on anything, is locking up Russian money. So I imagine that all the world's super wealthy right now are watching this saying, can that happen to me?
Right.
Right. So what are they going to do? Mm-hmm. They can't really turn to gold. You can't hold $1 billion worth of gold. It's untransferable. It's unmovable.
Right.
They're going to go to Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Especially the way this thing's playing out. And I'm going to tell you something. There's not that much Bitcoin out there.
Yeah.
There's not enough Bitcoin for every millionaire on earth to have one. There's not even close. It's so far away from that. And here's something people don't know. Yeah. Here's something those super wealthy don't know yet. There's a supply shock on Bitcoin. Right now, there's never been less Bitcoin available to purchase on exchanges ever. It's an all-time low.
Okay.
So when they figure this out and there's a run on the banks, you're going to see Bitcoin shoot so far and so fast. And it's going to be amazing. It's going to be the most amazing thing to watch.
Well, and I'm looking forward to that as a Bitcoin holder. That'll make my day. So with that being the logical step. So if all of a sudden there's sort of this mad rush to buy whatever available Bitcoin there is, do we see that trickle down to some of the other coins? I would imagine, right? I mean, that seems logical.
That's a really good question, John. It really is. So Bitcoin's market cap is the biggest market cap in crypto. Mm-hmm. It's about $1 trillion, right?
Oh, wow. Okay.
So usually what happens is first Bitcoin moves, and then when it's done, it's like a slingshot. So here's Bitcoin, and you pull the slingshot back. This slingshot is the rest of the crypto community, and it will shoot so much further. So if Bitcoin does a 5x, you'll see Ethereum do a 10x. And you'll see things lower on the list do even more than that because they're easier to move because their market caps are considerably smaller.
Right.
In fact, give you an idea of how much smaller. There's well over 10,000 cryptocurrencies. I don't even know what it is now. It's so many.
Right.
Bitcoin is about half of the market cap of all of crypto.
Oh, wow.
So if all of crypto has a $2 trillion market cap, Bitcoin's half of that. So it's hard to move something that big.
Right.
But the perfect storm of supply shock and the super wealthy, and even like the medium wealthy, or even common, like in El Salvador right now, right? There's citizens who are mostly, poor.
Yeah.
They're using Bitcoin too now. It's the ultimate stabilizer, right? It's decentralized. You can't shut it down. I can send it anywhere in the world. I can hold large amounts of it on a little phone. Like it's just the perfect idea of stable, decentralized currencies that the government can't take from you, can't shut it down, can't turn it off. Yeah.
Interesting. I saw something, and it just blipped on my screen today. Somebody was talking about how this whole sort of geopolitical thing is affecting Apple Pay and Google Pay. Can you kind of talk on that just real quick?
Love to, yeah. So if you've ever been to Russia, you know that they use Apple Pay for everything.
Oh, okay. I've not.
Right. Very popular in Russia. Yeah. And Apple shut down Apple Pay to Russians, and Google shut down Google Pay to Russians. So they can't go to the bank, can't pull their money out, they can't pull their stocks out, and they can't use Apple Pay or Google Pay. So what do you think they're going to do?
Sure.
When the smoke clears and all this is done, what do you think every Russian citizen is going to do? They're going to buy Bitcoin or some sort of cryptocurrency because they don't want to ever feel that again.
Right.
Right. It's amazing, man. I'll be honest with you. Like, I couldn't have ever predicted something this amazing playing out in this way and have such a positive reflection on cryptocurrencies. And actually, the hardest thing for me to tell people when I explain why crypto's a thing is the power of decentralization.
Right.
I don't think the average human being thinks on these terms. I think they've just their whole life been manipulated by centralized entities like governments and companies and whatnot.
Yep.
But we're watching freedom come and play here, and freedom is in decentralization.
Right.
And it's the most amazing story ever, and I'm so glad that we're able to help Ukraine in any way.
Sure. Yep. Yeah, and one more thought before we jump off here. In the past, we've always heard that adage about, a great way to stimulate any economy is to start or be engaged in a war, right? And that's what we see playing out. What a great way for this amazing thing, this crypto thing, to sort of take that off the table, right? Because if we leave the power in the people's hands to make their own financial decisions, the economy can take care of itself regardless of where you are in the world. So maybe that becomes something that countries like Russia stop doing these things with, right? They stop worrying about going to war to stimulate a failing economy. That's a great thing.
Yeah. So centralized entities like your government, they're only, if we're being honest, their only true concern is keeping power.
Right.
Keeping power on our borders, but also keeping power within their own citizens, right? If you really thought about it, if the government people united and said, look, we don't no longer agree with our government. I'm not saying that we do or don't. I'm just saying
Sure.
some country somewhere,
Right.
if that were a story, do you think the government would just say, okay, cool, we'll give the power back to you? Or do you think they would fight you tooth and nail for it?
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
This is the power of decentralization. It's so amazing, John. I have one concern.
Yeah, please.
We backed Putin into a corner.
Mm-hmm.
He looks foolish, right? He looks probably embarrassed, and he's a very prideful man like you.
Yep.
You back a wild dog into the corner, he's going to fight with tooth and nail. I'm just concerned about that.
Yes.
But I do think moving forward, like if you notice, China hasn't said a word.
Right.
They were butting up with Russia, but they now have not said a word. They're keeping very quiet. They don't want anybody paying attention to them at this point.
Right.
I imagine moving forward, however this turns out, I think moving forward, countries will think twice before going to war and putting their citizens in harm's way because it's a power play or because their corporate entities can benefit financially from it, or maybe they want to stimulate the economy. People shouldn't have to die for these things.
I agree.
Right. And who dies? The poor, right?
That's right. Every time.
It's never the rich. The rich kid doesn't go to war, right? It's the poor kid, right?
That's right.
So, this is an amazing time in history. I feel blessed to watch this point in history play out.
Yeah. I mean, it's from a PR standpoint, it's great for crypto, but in a realistic way, we can finally see that shift of power back to the people, at least economically, which is a good start. That's a fantastic start. So, yeah, Jason, thanks so much, man. This really shines a light on a lot of this stuff. And you're right, everyday folks probably don't get this sort of view. So I appreciate you sitting in with me today and getting this out to the peeps. So,
John, thanks for having me. I always appreciate it. Thank you.
We'll do another one soon. Take care.
Yeah.